Hare Krishna. Uh, so we can start now. Bhagavad Gita. So I will just discuss the glories of chapter 2 first. Sorry. I have to unmute now. Sorry. Hare Krishna. So we're going to start our discussion on Bhagavad Gita. I had forgotten to speak on glories of chapter number 2. So I'll just read it. It's amazing glories of chapter number 2, and then we're going to start from 2.3 onwards. So I just read. It's a very interesting story told to Lakshmi Devi by Lord Krishna himself, Lord Vishnu himself. All of you can hear me very clearly. Is there issue with hearing? Okay, everybody can hear. Lord Vishnu said, "My dear Lakshmi, you have heard from me the glories of the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Now please listen carefully as I tell you the glories of the second chapter. Once in the south, in the town of Pandharpur, a very learned Brahmana by the name of Devashama lived. He was able to perform all kinds of fire sacrifices. He also knew the importance of receiving guests, and by his activities he managed to satisfy all the demigods. But he was not happy and peaceful in his heart and mind. He had the desire to attain knowledge of the soul's relationship with the supersoul, Paramatma, and towards this end he would invite many yogis and tapasvis and render all kinds of service to them and inquire from them about the absolute truth. In this way he passed many years of his life. One day, while he was walking, he saw one yogi in front of him, sitting cross-legged, with his eyes fixed on the tip of his nose, totally absorbed in meditation. Devashama could perceive that this yogi was completely peaceful and without any material desires. Devashama, with the greatest respect and reverence, fell at the feet of that yogi and inquired from him how he could attain complete peace of mind. At that time, that yogi, who had complete knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, advised Devashama to go to the village of Sopur and meet one Mitravan, who was a goat herder by profession. So you see, Devashama is a Brahmana, but now he's being directed to a person who's a goat herder, Gadariya, and take instructions in the science of God realization from him. After hearing this, Devashama again and again offered his respectful obeisances at the feet of that yogi and immediately left for Sopur. When he arrived there, he found on the northern side one beautiful forest where he was informed that Mitravan lived. When he entered that forest, he saw on the bank of a small river Mitravan seated on top of some rocks. Mitravan looked very beautiful and totally peaceful. In that forest, the wind was blowing very gently and a beautiful aroma was emanating from every direction. The goats were peacefully moving here and there, totally unafraid. Some were seen to be sitting next to tigers and other ferocious animals very peacefully. When Devashama saw this scene, his mind became very peaceful and he respectfully approached Mitravan and sat close to him. Mitravan appeared to be fully absorbed in his meditation. After some time, Devashama inquired from him how he would be able to attain devotion to Lord Krishna. When Mitravan heard this question, for a moment he was lost in deep thought. Then he replied, "My dear learned Devashama, once, long ago, I was in the forest looking after the goats when a very ferocious tiger attacked. At that time, all the goats ran here and there to save themselves. I also ran off due to fear of the tiger. From some distance, I looked back and saw that that tiger on the bank of this river encountered one of my goats. At that time, a strange and wonderful thing happened. The tiger lost all his anger and desired to eat my goat. Thereupon, my goat inquired from the tiger, 'You have attained your food, so why are you not eating the meat of my body? You should immediately kill me and with great relish eat up my flesh. Why are you hesitating?' That tiger said, 'My dear goat, since I have come to this place, all anger has left me and I have no hunger or thirst.' The goat said, 'I also do not know why I am feeling so fearless and peaceful. What can be the reason for this? If you know, then kindly inform me.' The tiger replied, I also do not know. Let us inquire from that person. When I saw this change take place in the activities of the tiger and goat, I became very much astonished. At that time, they both approached me and inquired as to the reason. I noticed that a monkey was sitting on the branch of a nearby tree. I went along with the two of them and inquired from that monkey king. That monkey replied to our question with great respect. Listen, I will tell you, it is a very old story. See now, one story after another story. In that forest, just in front of you, there is a very large temple in which Lord Brahma installed a Shivalinga. Long ago, a learned sage of the name Sukama, who had performed many austerities, lived there. Daily he would bring flowers from the forest and water from the river and worship Lord Shiva. In this way he was living here for many years, when one day one sage arrived. At that time Sukama brought fruits and water and fed that sage. After that sage had eaten and rested, Sukama spoke to him, O learned one, only for the reason of obtaining knowledge of Lord Krishna am I living here performing austerities and worship. But the results of my austerities have been attained today by coming in contact with you. That means by devotee association. When the sage heard the words of Sukama, which were full of submission, he became greatly pleased, and he wrote on one piece of stone the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. He then instructed Sukama to daily read those verses. By so doing, you will quickly attain your goal. After having spoken thus, that sage disappeared from that place while Sukama was looking on. After that, following the instructions of that sage, Sukama recited those verses daily for the rest of his life. Very quickly he attained complete knowledge of Lord Krishna, and from the day he started reciting those verses, he felt no more thirst or hunger. Well, why we don't feel like this? We start feeling hungry when we start to chant the Bhagavad Gita shlokas. Anyways, and due to this austerities and devotion at this place, anyone who visits here does not feel the pangs of hunger and thirst, and immediately attains complete peace. Important point to be understood here that even if we do not experience the results which Sukama mentioned, still we should have faith in the Shastra. It's not that everybody will get the same result, but definitely the result will come. Okay. Mitravan said, My dear Devashama, after the monkey had finished telling us that wonderful story, I, along with the tiger and goat, went to that temple. We found there written on a piece of stone the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and I started to recite those verses daily. In this way, we were able to attain very quickly devotion to Lord Krishna. My dear Brahmana, if you also start reciting the verses of the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, you will very quickly attain the mercy of Lord Krishna. So you see, that's why we are reciting every day. Lord Vishnu said, My dear Lakshmi, in this way Devashama attained knowledge from Mitravan, and after worshipping that great soul, he returned to Pandharpur and daily recited that second chapter. And whoever visited Pandharpur, Devashama would first recite before him the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In this way, Devashama attained the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. My dear Lakshmi, these are the glories of second chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Second chapter ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.